Imagine if you could run a private AI agent on your computer completely free that never sends a single word of your data to the cloud. Right now, you're paying $50 a month or more for an AI that stores everything you type on someone else's server. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to combine Ollama with Hermes Agent so you've got your own private AI operating system. So you can run a real agent for $0 and keep every bit of data locked on your machine, even if you've never touched a terminal in your life. I'm going to give you my exact config file that stops this setup from breaking later on in the video. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jimmy Barkway. I run a profitable AI startup. So if you haven't already, grab yourself a fresh cup of tea and let's dive straight in. Llama runs the model on your machine. Hermes turns it into a real agent. Nothing you type ever leaves your desk. That is the promise of this video. And that is what we're going to achieve by the end. So stick around and you'll have all of the commands, all of the config files, everything you need to get this up and running on your own machine. And I'll even dive into more detail about the kind of hardware that you need to run each model that we're going to look at. I think most people are already aware of this, but you are renting your AI. It's not something that belongs to you. Every token spent, every word typed or spoken into Claude or ChatGPT is going on a server, and you can assume that it will live there forever. Both Ollama and Hermes Agent are completely open source, which means they're free to use. And cloud models like Claude and OpenAI's ChatGPT, they're only going to get more and more expensive over time. We're in a bit of a grace period at the moment, a bit of a free trial period, where everything is very cheap. You can run as low as $20 a month for the lower subscriptions and all the way up to $200 plus per month to get 20x usage. And if you were to spend that same amount of money in API credits compared to their subscription, then you would be spending way, way more. We're talking in the thousands per month for the same usage as that $200 subscription. This free trial period is going to be over at some point soon. You heard it here first. And that's why running free open source models on your own computer or on a VPS or on a server or however you want to run it. Today, we're going to be running it on our own machine. This is the future, and that is why. Privacy and cost. Now, most creators who talk about open source models running on your own machine, they skip out the part where they've spent $2,000 on a laptop that has Apple silicon chips with 64 to 100 plus gigabytes of RAM so that they can run the best local models quite easily. But for the rest of us, we have significantly cheaper hardware. But the good news is that you don't need a crazy amount of RAM on your machine to be able to run these models. And if you stick around, I'll even show you how we can ask Hermes Agent what local model will be best for our machines. Now, it took me a lot of trial and error to figure this out for you guys, but by default, when you set up a local model on Hermes Agent, the context window is tiny to the point where it can't even load barely anything into its memory, which usually means it crashes after the first message or two. So I'm going to show you how to extend that context window to something closer to what you're used to and how to set up the right config for your model. Not only are we running a completely free setup, but it is 100% private. And then we'll set up a scheduled task to give you a private brief every morning to your Telegram. Let's go. By the way, if you want to go from just using AI to getting paid for it, check out the community. First link in the description below. We've got founders in there who landed their first client in weeks, a ton of training for building AI agents, and the actual templates behind what I just showed in this video. See that below if that's for you. Now we can start by opening a terminal. If you're on the Mac, I think it's just Command and space, type in terminal, and this will pop up. By the way, if you want to follow along with this, there will be a Notion guide that looks something like this in a link in the description down below. So that'll have the commands that we're using for this video. First command, we're going to install Ollama on our machine. Now we have Ollama installed, the best thing to do next is to find out what model actually fits on our machine. And I think the best way to show that would be through Hermes Agent itself. So we can just copy this command, and that's going to install Hermes onto our machine. It's going to install all dependencies, everything it needs to be running smoothly. It's detected my OpenClaw installation, so I'm just going to hit no. I don't want anything to be transferred over. I want a fresh install, please. Now that we're here, to get into Hermes Desktop, I'm just going to Control X out of here. And to get that installed, you can just come to Desktop app right here, download that for your computer. Hey Hermes, can you go out and do some research for me and find out which local open source AI model I can run on my laptop, bearing in mind the hardware requirements for that model. Look at the image I've attached to find out what my hardware is. And we'll send it off. While that's going, I will show you what I'm using for voice dictation. So you may have heard of Whisper Flow. They have a free trial that goes onto a paid tier where you can just talk into your mic and then an AI organizes everything and writes it out for you way quicker than typing. It's Google have released their own free version called Google Eloquent. I've been trialing it for a few days, and this is also running on local open source models, specifically Gemma 4, which is a model that might be recommended to you if your hardware has less RAM, because it's a really efficient open source model, and it's the one used to power this as well. So definitely recommend checking this out. It's completely free. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but it's what I'm using at the moment. Okay, based on your screenshot, your laptop is a MacBook Pro Apple M1 Max, 32 gigabytes of unified memory. Best model is Gwen 3 30B A3B. Apache 2.0 license, that's what we love to see. That means it's genuinely open source and you can use it for most things. It's a mixture of experts model, but only around 3 billion active parameters are used per token. We can feel more efficient than a dense 30 billion parameter model. It's 17.2 gigs, which fits within your 32 gigabyte unified memory with some room to spare. Also give me a few more options here, like Gwen 3 Coda, Mistral Small, the Gemma 3 model. I could also run the Gemma 4 model. I just don't think it's done the proper research there, because Gemma 4 is absolutely capable and comfortably run on most machines. Okay, now we know which model is right for my machine to be powering Hermes Agent. We can go ahead and pull that model, download it onto my computer so I can run it locally. You can also do this through the Ollama desktop window just fine, and you can just type in the model that you're looking for. But to do it through terminal, new terminal window, Ollama pull, and then the model name, and you can search for the model that you want to run, or you can come to list of models and you've got all of their most popular models right here. So we're basically running this command that we've got here, but I'm swapping out run for pull to download it onto my computer. So the model is 18 gigabytes. It's downloading that now. Should be done in a couple minutes. It looks like that's finished. So there's a couple ways we can check this. One is that we can go into Ollama, check on the list, and we can see Gwen 3 30B A3B is loaded in there. And there's no download symbol next to it. That's how we know it's already done. Another way you can check is by typing in Ollama list, and you can see again, Gwen 3 30B A3B. Let's do a quick double check that it's working. Hey, Gwen 3, how are you doing today? Okay, I won't skip ahead there just so you can see how fast that is. I'll let you be the judge, but I think for a local model, that's pretty fast. Not as lightning quick as your cloud models, but for free and private, you can't argue with, what was that, 4 seconds, 5 seconds? Okay, new terminal window. Now we can go ahead and set up our Hermes agent with our local model running on our computer. Hermes setup, that's simple. Because we already did some of this earlier, it skipped ahead to selecting our provider. So we're going to find Ollama, not Ollama Cloud. We're not using Ollama's cloud-hosted open models. They have a subscription where you can use their open source models on their platform for starting at $20 a month. I think they also have a free tier, but that's not what we're doing today. So for a local model, I'm going to come down to custom endpoints. And for the base URL, I'm just going to enter localhost 11434. No API key, so just press enter. If it asks you if you meant to add /v1 at the end, then just put yes, because this is often required for a lot of providers. Like it says there, most local model servers, Ollama, LLM, etc., require this. So just put yes, and then we can proceed. And just select the model you want to use, and it will go on to the next step. For a 32 gigabyte context window, you can put 32768 as the amount of tokens. I think that should be more than enough to be running a local model. It will depend on your machine, the hardware you've got, and what you can handle. So you might have to ask Hermes desktop, exactly what to put here. Now we're going to set up Telegram so that we can talk to Hermes through a Telegram bot. And you can take it anywhere with you as long as you keep your laptop on. So select Telegram when it comes up in the list, and then it'll bring you to this screen. And if you've already got Telegram bots set up like I have, then you'll see something like this, but otherwise it'll take you straight to creating a bot with BotFather, in which case it'll ask you for your Telegram bot token. To get that, you just need to open your Telegram. There'll be a search icon up here where you can search for BotFather, and that'll bring you here. /help will show you all the commands available to you. But we want to create a new bot with /new bot. Just call it Hermes Agent YouTube. Now you need a username. It must end in bot and it can't have any spaces. And once that's done, I recommend you open up your bot. After you've copied your token, you can open up your bot, press start and just say something, anything. That's going to wake up your Telegram channel and make it possible for Hermes to find this. Very important step. Just paste in your bot token. Now you're going to need your user ID. This is really important because it means only you are going to be able to talk to your bot. If your Telegram ever becomes compromised for whatever reason, then this is going to go a long way. Your user ID is unique to you. And to get that, again, search icon, type in user info bot, and you're looking for this guy at the top, and then just press start, and it's going to give you that user ID. Copy that and paste it into your Hermes. Once that's done, it'll ask you if you want to restart the gateway. Just press Y for yes. You'll need to restart the gateway for Hermes to be able to use your Telegram bot. Then we can just hit done. Hey Hermes, can you hear me okay? Yes. Now I'm glad this happens because it's a lesson for myself and everybody watching. Hermes Agent needs a minimum of 64,000 tokens in its context window for it to function full stop. And that's fine. This is the part where I can show you how to update your Hermes config file to change this from 32K to 64K tokens in your context window. You can come back into the old terminal or just start a new one. It doesn't matter really. But this command, Hermes config set model.context_length 64,000 is going to set your context window to 64K. And you can see that's confirmed. It's edited the Hermes config file, which is exactly what we needed. So now when we come back to Hermes Agent and reset, session reset, starting fresh, Gwen3 Hermes, provide a custom, context 64K tokens, the endpoint that we set earlier, and fingers crossed, it should be good to go now. Hey Hermes, how are you doing today? Okay, Ollama loaded our model in with only 32,000 tokens of runtime, but Hermes needs at least 64,000. Increase the Ollama context for this model and restart the model before trying again. A known good starting point is 65K tokens. And it tells us exactly what we need to be changing. First is model.ollama, num, ctx, and then model.context length as well. So this is a straightforward fix. Hermes config set and then literally copying this exactly. So you can just click to copy. So Hermes config set and then just paste that in there for the first one. Great, we've set that okay. And then same thing again, except we're copying the second one this time. Hermes config set, paste that, and we've set the right context length for both of those. Now the first one tells Hermes to make Ollama actually load the model with a 65K token window when it runs. The previous setting we did earlier, it only changed the display number. And the second command we've run just now basically makes these two talk to each other or agree on what the context window is. Now we'll reset once more. And we've got 64K tokens in the config. Hey Hermes, how are you doing today? Third time lucky? Now I don't expect this first message to be quick, but every message after that should be, because it's only loading in 3 billion parameters at a time. Functioning optimally, Jimmy. That's quite formal. Ready to help you scale your YouTube channel to millions. It looks like it's pulled some context from my laptop already. Let's start with your core content strategy. AI agents comparing free versus paid models across key use cases. What's your target topic for this week? I can generate a script, research trending comparisons, or analyze the latest AI news for you. Can you analyze the latest AI news and then set up a cron job for every morning at 9 a.m. to give me a brief of everything new in AI that I should be staying on top of? So it's searching through its skills. Looks like it's found one called dog food. That's interesting. It's creating our cron job, and it wants to know specifically what I want to know about. I'd like a balanced mix of everything. So let's go with number 4. Okay, after a long wait and a bit of digging, I found what the problem is. Hermes keeps long agent messages under control by compressing old messages. That feature requires a 64K context window. Despite all of these config changes we made, the model only ever ran at 32K in reality. So auto compress was switched off. With no compression, the conversation grew until it filled that 32K context window, which left the model no room to write its answer. So the agent basically ran out of room to think entirely, and that's purely down to my hardware because I'm running other apps to record this video, running that model on my machine as well. It's just not happening. So we just need to install a slightly smaller model that fits my hardware. So coming back to terminal, let's clear this, make some room, and then I can type Ollama, remove, or RM, and then just the 2 models that are on there. And that's deleted both of those and freed up some space on my laptop's RAM. As always, we can double check that with Ollama list, and we can see there's no models installed there at all. Okay, since we can't run the Gwen 3 model on my machine comfortably while also running other apps at the same time, then Gemma 4 is something released by Google, open source model, released by Google a few months back, but they also announced just recently a sort of mid-sized model called 12B. You can see they've got E2B and E4B built for mobile devices, really tiny models that you can run on a smartphone, but they've also got 12B, 26B, and 31B. Now, 31B, it's 31 billion parameters, so it takes up a reasonable amount of space on your RAM. But what they're claiming with 12B is that it's essentially the same sort of intelligence and reasoning as 26B, but significantly smaller parameters are much more efficient and easier to run on most machines. So I've run Gemma 4 models before. If you've been watching the channel for a while, this is something that is tried and tested, proven to work really well. And Ollama have even got their own page dedicated to it. You can see 12.9 million downloads. It's quite popular. And we've got all of the model names down here. So let's pull this instead. I'm going to pull Gemma 4 12B. This one is 7.4 gigs. It shouldn't take a second. Great, so that's installed onto the system. Now, I've put in this next command because Gemma 4's standard context window is about 256K. We want to cap this to about 65K because Ollama is capped at about 65K context window anyway. So that's creating Gemma Hermes, which is the Gemma 4 12B model with that 65K context window. Great, and I've just threw Ollama list at the end there so we can see what's actually loaded into Ollama. Now we just need to change Hermes's model, like so. We'll do the same thing, local, this time selecting Gemma Hermes latest. That's what we've just set up with that context window, and the model is set. Now, if we come back to our Telegram and reset this, then we've loaded in our Gemma 4 12B model with a 64K context window. Let's try the same prompt again. Can you analyze the latest AI news and set up a cron job for every morning at 9 a.m. to give me a brief of everything new in AI and what I should be staying on top of? It's alive. We got there. And for reference, that took about 3 minutes. I've analyzed the latest AI news using your scraper. Here is today's digest. Balanced mix of today's most important AI developments across research, product launches, and industry news. By the way, this scraper, this was built by the previous model. It's just that when the previous model tried to create a cron job, that's what filled up the context window and crashed everything. So this was already there, and it just used this scraper that was already built. So we've got a new 100 billion parameter model that reaches 89.2% accuracy on the massive multitask language understanding dataset. Stay ahead of the curve with daily insights on the rapidly evolving AI landscape. And I've also scheduled a cron job to run this script every morning at 9 a.m. So you will receive this update automatically every day. So there we have it. After some back and forth, some trial and error, I hope that was helpful for you so that when you do come to troubleshoot your own, you know what going wrong looks like. Hopefully that can get you out of that hole. You do find yourself there as well. But thank you for watching this video. YouTube is going to tell you what video to watch next.